Right, final talk of this lunch debate. I hope you haven't all got into the wine after what Tom said about the aluminium in water. Oh, this isn't. Oh, yeah, that's mine. This is a graph that we often use in presentations that we do in Belgium. The prevalence figures for people with dementia, the expected rise based on figures from population, from Statistics Belgium, but also the model that Alzheimer Europe published in 2019. And what we expect or what we see is that we now have about 125,000 persons with dementia in Flanders, and that will increase by 2040, it's not very long, to 190,000. And further on, it will increase even more. So when the Lancet committee came with a very strong paper in 2017, as you've heard from the previous presentation, and said, be ambitious about prevention, that was very hopeful because we can possibly try to lower that graph that I just showed a bit. We won't be able to avoid all of it, but maybe a bit. That's good news. That's good news for the people who don't get dementia or delayed onset of dementia. That's good news for the many family caregivers that don't need to care. And that's good news for the budgets of healthcare. René Thirion, who's sitting there, just made an analysis and the paper was accepted but not yet published. He can share you the details about what would the graph, how would the graph that I just showed, how would this graph change if we actually tap into that potential of prevention? Because as the chairman already indicated in the beginning, for a cure, it's too soon. We can hope they will find something. The evolution is going in a good way, but there's not going to be a medicine in the pharmacies in 10 years or 15 years time. It'll probably be something for our children, not for my generation. The other thing that's important talking about prevention is demographic changes. We all know that we live in a graying society, and we all know that there's a labor market shortage. Now, I've combined both figures, and by 2040, again, it's not very long anymore, we have for Flanders an increase of the labor population by 3%, but we have an increase of elderly people by 25%. That's me here somewhere. I'll be 78 by 2040. I want to have elderly care like people get these days, but with the labor shortage, that's going to be very, very hard. The figures for the French-speaking part of Belgium are even worse because they'll have minus 3% of labor force and plus 35% of elderly people. And those elderly people are mostly 80 plus. So any case of dementia, any need for elderly care that we can avoid can help to tackle this dilemma. This is a demographic time bomb that we need to avoid. Okay, so we start with working on prevention, and what we need to do is work on awareness. I'll tell you a secret. The Lancet is a journal with a loud voice, and the 2017 and 2020 papers are excellent information. I look forward to the 2024 paper and the update, but not many citizens read the Lancet. That's it. Yes, so we need to translate that message from the Lancet Committee and all the other researchers that contribute to insight in risk, modifiable risk factors. We need to translate that to the general audience. Now, we've done 2 campaigns in Flanders over the past years, and I'll briefly show you what we did, but then draw 4 lessons from it for anybody who thinks about doing another campaign in their country. The first one that we did was launched September 2018 and ended spring 2019, and we call it Sani Memorix. We made boxes, vaccine boxes, and we distributed those. This is the Flemish version. They were also used in Germany, in the Netherlands, and Norway also had their own version, Dementia, if I pronounce it correct. And we in Flanders distributed 50,000 of those boxes. We also had the blow-up version. These that contained the same information leaflets, and we send those out to all the pharmacies in Flanders. They could be put on the desk counter of the pharmacies. They also had kind of information through their professional organization on how to talk to clients that came for drugs, and they could hand out a leaflet. What we know is that this campaign increased awareness about modifiable risk factors from 34% to 44%. So we gained 10% in the age category of 40 to 75-year-olds. That means that still 55% of the citizens were not aware about the modifiable risk factors. So we did a new campaign that we called 2 for the price of 1. Sorry for all the scientists that you just heard. We needed to boil down their message to a catchy phrase. And in an interview on the radio, I said something like, if you take care of your heart, you take care of your brain. That's 2 for the price of 1. We were very surprised that that website address was still available. We thought supermarket X, Y, or Z would have used it already, but no, we could register the 2 for the price of 1. We made leaflets, we made postcards with that message and the modifiable risk factors on it. We made the carry bags. Again, that's what we distributed to pharmacies across Flanders, so that the pharmacists could give what people came to buy, but also point out the key messages. All of that design work is open access. If you're if you're interested and you want to use it, contact us. The 4 lessons that, we also had an attention grabber. The first time that was the vaccine box that we gave out. The second time we had printed apples. It's a technique with healthy stuff. It's not paint, but the message was on the apple, and we distributed like 25,000 apples in markets at the launch of the campaign. And the other attention grabber was on the right side, our brainy, an inflatable brain. Everywhere where you put it, people come and talk to you. So that's an attention grabber. The first lesson from the 2 campaigns: don't blame the victim. If you look at anti-smoking campaigns, they're all pointing at you with horrible pictures on the packages, and they're blaming the victim. We don't need to do that, and it's not wise to do that for dementia. 2017 was the Lancet Commission. That's very recent. We can't blame the people with dementia that have it now or that will have it in the next decades. Plus, in the previous presentations, you also heard it's not individual lifestyle, but it's also environmental factors that as a person you can't really change. The other thing is, even healthy lifestyle, the choices that you make, they are social choices. You all probably know the phrase, sitting is the new smoking. And we're all sitting all day. So lifestyle is a social thing and not an individual thing. So therefore, don't blame the victim. Second message is that we as dementia organizations, we need to outreach and build strategic alliances with public health organizations. For us in Flanders, that was the Flemish Institute of Healthy Living. They are the professionals in increasing awareness about what a healthy lifestyle is. Join forces with them. If you come from France, Germany, whatever country, and you work in dementia care, search for your public health organization and contact them, build alliances so that you can partner with them. For Europe, Alzheimer Europe, there's the European public health associations. I don't know whether you already had meetings with them on this topic, because those alliances are vital for any campaign. The third lesson is through those Sani Memorix material or the 2 for the price of 1 material, we reach out to the general public, but you also have at the same time to reach out to intermediaries. You need an amplifier. You need the intermediaries are your loudspeaker. They distribute the message much further than you can do on your own. The press. I think that over the past 5 years, press has become aware about modifiable risk factors. That's a good thing. The worrying thing is that they simplify it. You've already heard the example of the chocolate. Yesterday, no, this morning on the Flemish radio, it was about crosswords. Yesterday, I saw a newspaper clipping about kiwis. Eating kiwis is good to reduce the risk. That came from New Zealand, no surprise. But journalists, you need them to spread the message. The next thing is the GPs. You need to outreach to GPs because they are considered to be a reliable source about healthy lifestyle, about diseases. They can advise their patients about the message that's launched in the Lancet. So they need to know in the first hand, they need to know about what's published there, the modifiable risk factors. Secondly, they need to talk to their patients about it. The third one that you need as a partner, as an intermediary, are experts, neurologists or others otherwise, because media, if you reach out to journalists, they will call the experts, and you don't want to have the experts contradict what your message is. So we were very fortunate to talk to a couple of persons that journalists find and get them on board of our message so that we enforced the message. And the fourth one, intermediaries, is pharmacies. Again, pharmacies, pharmacists, they can communicate health messages to their clients. The fourth message, the final one, is be aware about high-risk groups. We know that people in low education, people in poverty, people with migration background, they have a substantial higher risk for dementia. But they are also very hard to reach with public health campaigns. That's why we wouldn't repeat the Sani Memorix campaign anymore. Logistically, this was a nightmare for us, all the boxes, assembling and outsourcing, of course, but finding people who could do it. But the name Sani Memorix is already too complicated. In the second campaign, the 2 for the price of 1, we also reached out to newspapers, say in the lower social economic classes. It's difficult. Public health campaigns for a general audience target those 2 high-risk groups is a challenge, but you need to try it. We did focus groups with people living in poverty, and they told us, focus on the GPs. That's what I said about the GPs as intermediary. And secondly, they get healthy, they rely on health information from the health insurance companies. So we also targeted those organizations. And finally, I hope the take-home message is not only bring the message from the scientists to the general audience, but also make it an urgent message, because if not, we're going to have that demographic time bomb where we don't only not have a cure for dementia, but we neither can care for people with dementia because of those demographic changes. Might be a bit a pessimistic take-home message, but I think it's urgent that we address this kind of topic. Thank you.